Hi, thanks for watching the videos on the assembly of this 1980 Corvette steering column. Today's video is the video of the assembly of the inner shaft that goes inside this tube. There are a couple ways that shaft could go together, and I'm not sure if I got it right. If by chance I have it wrong and somebody wishes to comment and tell me how to do it correctly, I'd be happy to pull the thing back apart and do it again, this time the right way. I'm not a professional mechanic. I'm just a semi-talented amateur and trying this steering column for the first time. So main reason I decided to do it myself was the cheapest I could find for a rebuild of the parts was in the neighborhood of $1,000, and thought I should give it a shot on my own before I spent that kind of money. So that was the reason behind the video. Hope it helps. Hope it's worth gold to you, but it might just be worth the price you're paying to watch it.
We will be discussing the assembly of the lower steering shaft to the upper steering shaft and how to install everything back together with our two plastic bushings and our little clip that holds it together. First, it's important that these be orientated the proper way. As I slide the drive shaft, the steering shaft this way, you'll notice on the end this flat spot. That is up. I will slide it back. You also have our upper shaft. Note that flat spot. And note that flat spot. Note this flat spot is not as deep as that flat spot. That flat spot needs to go up. So to make it easy on reassembly to remember, I simply made a blue felt pen mark showing up and a blue. The best way I found to do it is to start with the short part of the steering shaft. Grab one of your plastic pieces and insert it in place. Note that that's where our opening is for the clip. There's our clip. Take our second piece. There's our opening for the clip. Put it in sideways. And rotate it. And now you have that installed. Hold your short shaft that way, straight up and down, keeping an orientation of our need to have our blue marks line up. Come in from the side, like so. So come in from the side. And gently rotate it over. And now you have it correctly installed. There's our blue. And there's our blue. And then you'll see our little clip. Another item from another excellent YouTuber said that the way to detect if this needs to be replaced due to wear is to hold it up unlubricated like so. And if the unit doesn't fall down like so on its own, that's sufficient tension to go ahead with the assembly. So there you go right there. Another thing that I'm going to mention is this is from a 1980. You'll note those two small plastic rivets of sorts. those are used to keep the column expanded, but are easily broken in the event of a collision where the column needs to collapse. And you'll see how it goes telescoping in on itself. This steering column is going to be used in conjunction with a Borgeson power steering conversion. So, according to the instructions, which I'll show you, this needs to be collapsed a tiny bit to fit to the Borgeson box. So, debating at this point whether or not I'm going to just pop those rivets and make it easy kind of depends on what I end up finding. What I may end up doing is the instructions say to gently tap on this end to collapse the column a bit, and they give you a measurement on how to do that. This may end up hanging up at this end here. This is where it slides through the steering column, and the steering column lower bearing is about where my thumb is. So my thought is if I were to remove these little rivets at this point, this might hang up going through that bearing and thus collapse in on of itself when I'm putting the column back together. So I think I'm going to try it like this and use the wrapping on the end to collapse it a bit much later in the process. Anyway, there you go. And there's our little column. And I'm going to throw some grease on this before it ends up going into the column.